Welcome back to another BatchGuru update. In this video, BatchGuru is done. Okay, but don't go away yet. There is way more to the story. Let me tell you all about it. Let's go to my screen and I show you some cool things that happened that led up to the completion and deployment of BatchGuru, at least this version. Alright, what you see here is old user interface. This is not the fancy new UI that you were seeing in the previous videos. That is because I switched my developer environments. I went from dev VM with a new UI to Relativity Server 2021 developer virtual machine, which still has the old user interface. The reason why I went sort of back is I had a lot of problems with that VM. Whenever I would upload a DLL or do something like do a major update, things would freeze and sometimes I would be kicked out of Relativity. I had to log in back in and then all my filters were gone. So I was just getting frustrated. There's something unstable about that dev VM and I decided, you know what, let me just take a stable version and try that. And sure, when I started using this one, everything worked fine. There were no hiccups, no problems. I wasn't getting lagged out. And the best part about this version is this, that you can see all the tools at the same time. This is so good in this user interface. I absolutely love it. The fact that you had to scroll through that little box, to me personally, was very frustrating. So I'm really glad I have this, and this way I can see everything that's going on. Oh, the sad thing is, you know, all the little tabs I was doing to organize, like all the section headers I was doing, they didn't make it over because they're tabs, and I believe you can't have tab as part of an application. It doesn't get transferred over. And in fact, this tab called BatchGuru isn't part of application. It gets automatically created with the application name. So it's fine. At least things are organized and good. So there are a few things I learned from transferring the data. And one thing that I always forget, and these are going to be event handlers, right? So in the object type, if we go into one of the tools, you can add an event handler that would do something. Like you could see this one doesn't have an event handler. So if you click on new, you can add an event handler which points to a DLL that I create. However, once you add it, there is no way to assign it to an application. So if you take a choice, you create a choice, you can assign it to application right there. But if you do it to event handler, you cannot do that. What you have to do is after you add it to an object, you go to Relativity application, you find your application, then you find list of all the event handlers, and then you click on link and you add them all to the application. In fact, you can do it in bulk. So right here. So you just click on link. It's not going to work because it's locked right now. So after you add event handler there, you can do it here. So of course, like half of my tools didn't have this link because I just forgot about that. But that's a really good thing that comes from transferring data from one environment to another. You see if there are any components that weren't part of an application, and now you're like, whoa, where is my stuff? And now you fix it, and now it's all complete. So that was that. Transferred data, fixed my event handlers. I loaded lots of data into here. By the name of the case, you see it says private, so I can't show you any of this data. But there are thousands and thousands of rows here. So I went and I tested every single tool here on thousands and thousands of rows to make sure it works. Made corrections where needed. Everything checked out fine. So then what I decided to do is say, well, time to go to production environment. Let's deploy it to users. And so I deployed it into a real Relativity environment where people actually use the software. And I ran into a bit of a problem. And the problem that I ran into is one of the tools here, or a couple of the tools here, they used to use a linked object field. So I had a list of time zones where you could put a global list of all the time zones, so it shows up on the list. A problem with that was first, it was kind of unnecessary because you have to create an event handler after application installs to load them all in. So that was kind of annoying. and there was really no need for an object, so I decided to just change it to choice, right? So we have a choice, and that choice could be assigned to an application, so it always travels with it. The linked objects will not do that, so like I said, you have to generate them during installation. So this was much easier solution for me. However, I used the same field name, and so when I went to deploy to relativity environment, I broke every workspace from having proper version of BatchGuru. Installer just said, nope, can't update this application. Do you want to rename a field? Because field already exists. And of course, you can't rename the field because my code is looking for the field by field name. So the other option, I have to go to existing application and rename field to something else. Well, there are like 400 workspaces. I'm not even sure how many workspaces exactly, probably more. Each one has 3 fields. I have to unlock the application, so that wasn't gonna work. So the only thing I was able to do is to manually uninstall the application and then reinstall it, and that would have worked fine, but again, couldn't do it. So then I was on the phone with DevX, so we're trying to find a solution. And the simplest solution was to just rename field. So now it says convert time zone. I added the word source, so it's a different field name. So I changed some of the field names, destination, source. So I modified field names because, again, the problem was you cannot upgrade an application if it already has field with the same name but different type. And I've changed the type from object to choice. And so I renamed the field in my developer environment. I modified the code to point at that name, and then I redeployed in the production environment, and everything went fine, which I was really, really happy about. So at this point, BatchGuru 2.0 is deployed in one real production environment, and I am working with some of the users to do some testing there, see if there are any problems they're going to spot. I am on standby to fix anything that may show up, and that's where I am. I'm a little tired after all this fun stuff with trying to deploy and things breaking, but I'm at the really, really happy place now because it is all done. Now, BatchGuru isn't done, so what's left? Real world testing, right? So we still need to run the tools, run the export, see if anybody spots problems. Second thing, there are more tools on my to-do list that I'm going to be working on. Goal here was just to transition from one API to another. So now I am going to be testing it not testing, but using it in a production environment and see if there are any problems. Official testing was already done. And then just gonna work on more tools. All right, I think I've talked enough. So yeah, that's my update. Everything's been deployed. Things seem to work, aside that one hiccup with deployment. I believe I'm good. All right, that's it for this update. Thank you for checking it out. Once I make some new tools, I will make some more videos and I'll tell you what they do. See you later.